Hi everyone, and welcome to Jack and Cat Adventures. Today we're going to be making carrot cake. I'm going to start out by roasting pecans. You can use walnuts or pecans. You don't need to roast either, but roasting them gives them just a deeper flavor for the cake. So what I do is I just put some pecans on here. I usually just use a full pack, and what I don't use, I put back in the freezer. So I'm going to roast these at 350 and kind of move them around a little bit with a spatula, about 2 minutes, 3 minutes in, and then just watch them really close. Once you start smelling the fragrant nut, pull them out of the oven and let them sit on your tray. They'll continue to cook, but if you go too far in the oven and then pull out, they will be burnt, okay? So I'm going to get started, and I'll let you know approximately how long mine took. Alright, my nuts took 10 minutes. I did 4 minutes and flipped them around, and then I did another 4 minutes and flipped them around and just finished 2 minutes out. Now mine are cooling on the tray. You do not want to chop them when they're hot, especially if you're using a food processor like I'm going to do. They will just get too much steam inside and they'll all clump and it'll be wet. We don't want that. So we're going to let them cool while we start our actual cake part, okay? So in this bowl you're going to need 2 cups of sugar. Hold on 1 second. I don't know what, oh. I know I pulled the butter knife out. Okay, let's start over. We need 2 cups of sugar.
Or at least you didn't need to plug it in.
Yeah, that's next. Let me get another. My sugar's a little bit full for me to dig in. Okay, so you're just going to do all this in a large bowl. You don't even need to bring out your mixer. This is number 2. And then you need 3/4 of a cup of vegetable oil. Now remember, when you are baking, everything needs to be pretty precise. So, you know, measure everything out when you bake, because it's very important that everything, it's like chemistry, it just has to come together. So I'm going to pour my oil in here, into my sugar. While you're watching me do this, please subscribe down below to our YouTube channel, and that will let you know when all the new recipes come out. We usually put recipes out Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and sometimes bonus things in between if we do a field trip or anything like that. Now I'm just going to take my spatula and just stir this sugar and the oil together really well. You're going to need to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And you're also going to need either a 9x13 pan, a bundt pan, or let me see what other kind of pan there was. A 2 pan or a bundt pan or 9x13. I do 9x13 just because it's easier to frost and cut and everything else. Alright, so now I got that done really nice. Make sure you spray your pans no matter what pan you use, especially a bundt. You've got to make sure that thing is greased or your cake will not come out, okay? So now we're going to mix in the eggs. We got 3 eggs. And I'm going to crack them into this bowl to make sure that they're not bad or I get any shell. Okay. Then we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. Make sure you shake it up really well before you pour it. Okay. Put that in. This is one of the easiest cakes. We're going to do our vanilla, which is 2 teaspoons. And we're going to add an 8-ounce can of crushed pineapple, juice and all. little bit of a hard time finding these small cans, so if you can't find a small can, just eyeball a bigger can with a little bit of juice. Okay, now we're going to mix this well. Break up our eggs real nicely. And then we're just going to mix this.
Are you done with the sugar?
Yes, thank you.
You're hiding behind everything.
Okay, that mixed good. Now we're going to add our flour, which is 2 cups. And remember, don't pack your flour. Just do it lightly.
Done with that?
Yes. Then we're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And just rinse this and dry it so that I can reuse this. Okay, 2 teaspoons. And make sure you measure right. Kind of push it down into the spoon and then go across the top of the spoon. Alright, then we need 1 teaspoon of salt.
And remember, don't measure the salt
Over
your...
bowl, because sometimes you are a heavy pour and then you get too much salt in there. You're going to use 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And we're going to stir all that. This cake always reminds me of like summer and freshness. Now, if you're allergic to nuts, you do not have to put the nuts in. Just make sure you mix this really well and you don't have like big clumps of flour and things like that in there, okay? And just make sure you keep scraping down that bowl because sometimes the cinnamon gets a little bit clumpy in this wet. So I'm gonna, real quick, I'm gonna switch to a, see how it got all wet on that? I'm going to switch to a whisk real quick. I just want to make sure that the flour's, the lumps are out of the flour. Okay, that looks delicious. Okay. Now we're going to put in 3 carrots shredded. We're going to stir that in, and then I'm going to check my nuts and see if they're cool enough to put them in the food processor, and then I'll be right back. So now 1 cup of pecans goes in, or walnuts, whatever you choose. I like mine pretty fine, but if you like chunky, then just go ahead and do what you like. You do you, remember. Okay, so we're going to just add those to that. We're going to mix it really well. Make sure everything's mixed in. For being a homemade cake, this is one of the easiest cakes to make. And if you're a beginner, I would definitely try this. And if you have questions before you start, or in the middle, or whatever, go ahead and contact us, and we will answer your questions as quickly as we can. I'll try to walk you through whatever problem you're having. Everything is fixable, even if we have to start from scratch again. No worries, okay? That's the only way you're going to learn to cook, by mistakes. Alright, so now this is all mixed together. I am going to pour it into a 9x13 pan that's greased. This is a nice, dense, moist cake. Okay, just make sure it's all even. Air bubbles out. It's going into a 350-degree oven for 40 to 45 minutes or until toothpick comes out clean. Alright, once your cake is all cooled, we're going to make the frosting now, and this is a cream cheese frosting. In a mixing bowl, you're going to need 1 pound of powdered sugar, 8 ounces of softened cream cheese, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and a half of a stick of butter melted and cooled. Okay, and we're just going to mix it. Once your frosting is all mixed, we are going to frost the cake.
We may end up doing it in the dark. See?
We keep losing the power. At least the cake was done before it happened. Okay, so I'm just going to use my offset spatula and I'm just going to frost this cake. Now this cake should be put in the refrigerator because the frosting gets really, really soft.
And we're back in the dark.
I'm going to hurry up and get this done. Okay. Just make sure it's all covered nice and even. I like the 9x13s because you don't have to worry about cutting cutting it in half and filling the middle and all that. I don't like doing all that stuff. I'm a little lazy when it comes to cake decorating. Alright, just even it out. And there you have it. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And remember, you do you.